In the late 1800s, a man named Jean-Baptiste made his mark in Utah not as a hero, but as a notorious grave robber. This is a tale of deceit and darkness, one that continues to confound and captivate to this day. Born to an era of horse-drawn carriages and gaslit streets, Jean-Baptiste was an ordinary man in the eyes of the townsfolk. His profession? A gravedigger. A humble yet important role, ensuring the departed found their final resting place beneath the earth. But beneath the veneer of this solemn duty, a macabre secret was taking root. Day after day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Baptiste would return to the cemetery. But it wasn't to pay respects or to mourn. No, Baptiste had a far darker intent. Armed with his shovel and an insatiable greed, he embarked on a clandestine operation, robbing from those who could no longer protest. From each grave he desecrated, Baptiste would claim a morbid trophy: jewelry, trinkets, personal mementos. Nothing was safe from his grasp. It's believed that over 300 graves were violated in this manner, their sacred peace shattered by Baptiste's unholy deeds. Imagine the audacity, the sheer disrespect. Here was a man employed to lay souls to rest, instead exploiting his position to pilfer from the dead. A treacherous act that carried on undetected, under the cover of night. But as is the nature of all things hidden in shadows, they eventually come to light. Baptiste's grim secret was uncovered, sending shockwaves through the community. The very thought of such sacrilege, such violation of trust, was unthinkable. The consequences were swift and severe. For his crimes, Baptiste was banished, cast away to a remote island in the Great Salt Lake. A solitary confinement, a punishment fitting for the gravity of his sins. But like all secrets, Baptiste's dark deeds came to light, and he was banished to a remote island in the Great Salt Lake. His story, however, was far from over. The infamous Jean-Baptiste had one last trick up his sleeve, one final act that would ensure his name lived on, cloaked in mystery and intrigue. Imagine a place of complete isolation, where the only visitors are the gulls overhead and the waves at your feet. That was Jean-Baptiste's new home. This wasn't a tropical paradise, but a desolate island in the heart of the Great Salt Lake, a place as harsh and unforgiving as the crimes that led Baptiste there. The island was barren. Miles of salt flats stretched out in all directions, offering no shelter from the relentless sun. The ground beneath was unforgiving, a thick crust of salt that crumbled underfoot, making every step a struggle. The air was heavy with the scent of brine, a constant reminder of the desolation that surrounded him. This was not a place designed for comfort, but for punishment. The isolation was absolute. His only companions were the squawking gulls and the persistent lapping of the saline waves. The silence was deafening, a stark reminder of his solitude. The wind whispered across the vast expanse, carrying no voices, no sounds of civilization, just the harsh, empty echo of nothingness. Solitary confinement on this island was a punishment that went beyond mere physical hardship. It was a test of mental endurance. The days stretched on endlessly, each one a mirror image of the last. The isolation gnawed at the edges of his sanity, the loneliness a constant specter. The only marker of time was the slow, relentless passage of the sun across the sky, a cruel reminder of the world that was out of his reach. Survival was a daily battle. The lake offered no sustenance, its salty waters undrinkable. For food, Baptiste was left to rely on the occasional gull brave enough to venture too close. The elements were a constant adversary, the sun a relentless foe, and the wind a merciless companion. But 3 weeks later, Jean-Baptiste was nowhere to be found. His island prison was empty. The harshness of his punishment was no longer a reality, but a memory. The island, once a place of isolation and despair, was left to the gulls and the waves. And the mystery of Jean-Baptiste's disappearance began to unfold. One may wonder, how does a man disappear from an island with no means of escape? The question hangs in the air, as enigmatic as the man at its center, Jean-Baptiste. When officials returned to the island prison 3 weeks after banishing Baptiste, they arrived to the shocking revelation that he had vanished. This island, a desolate speck amidst the vast expanse of the Great Salt Lake, with no practical means of escape, had seemingly swallowed up the notorious grave robber. But had it really? The evidence left behind painted a curious picture. Amidst the rugged island terrain, officials discovered traces of what appeared to be a makeshift raft. This raft, potentially crafted from the sparse vegetation and driftwood found on the island, suggested an audacious attempt at escape. But could a rudimentary raft truly carry a man across the briny expanse of the Great Salt Lake? The theories around Baptiste's escape are as numerous as they are intriguing. Some suggest that he may have used the cover of night to slip away unseen, navigating by the stars and guided by the desperate hope of freedom. Others posit that he may have capitalized on the lake's often unpredictable weather, using a sudden storm as a cloak for his daring departure. Yet another theory speculates that Baptiste didn't act alone. Could there have been an accomplice, an unseen hand aiding him in his quest for liberty? Perhaps a sympathetic local, or a fellow criminal with a shared interest in evading the law's grasp? The possibility, while tantalizing, remains shrouded in the thick fog of mystery that has enveloped this case for over a century. But where could Baptiste have gone after his daring escape? Some argue he might have sought refuge in the rugged wilderness of Utah, blending into the shadows of the mountains and canyons. Others suggest he might have ventured further afield, perhaps even crossing state lines in a bid to evade capture. Yet, despite the swirling whirlpool of theories and conjectures, one fact remains crystal clear. Jean-Baptiste, once the terror of Utah's graveyards, had vanished into the ether, leaving behind nothing more than a smattering of clues and a legacy of intrigue. The man who once robbed the dead of their final piece had himself become a ghost, a spectral figure lurking at the edges of local folklore. Baptiste's escape remains one of Utah's most enduring mysteries, a testament to the audacity of one man's will to evade capture. His disappearance from an island prison in the Great Salt Lake is a tale that continues to captivate, even as the details recede into the mists of time. Despite the efforts of the authorities, Jean-Baptiste was never seen or heard from again. His story, like the man himself, is an enigma, a puzzle that continues to confound and fascinate. And as the tale of his mysterious escape echoes across the years, one can't help but wonder, where did Jean-Baptiste go, and what became of the infamous grave robber of Utah? Today, the story of Jean-Baptiste is more than a historical account. It is a legend, a mystery that remains unsolved. So, let's delve into how this enigmatic figure has become a part of Utah's folklore. Jean-Baptiste's tale is one that's been passed down through generations, from grandfathers to grandchildren, around campfires and dinner tables, becoming a part of the state's cultural fabric. His audacious crimes, the shocking revelation of his grave-robbing spree, and his subsequent banishment have all contributed to the making of a tale that is as intriguing as it is unsettling. Utah, a state known for its stunning natural landscapes and deep-rooted Mormon traditions, found itself in the grip of a grave-robbing scandal in the late 1800s. The man at the center of it all was none other than Jean-Baptiste. His actions were seen as a violation of the sacred, a desecration of the final resting places of loved ones. His deeds stirred a sense of outrage and shock that still echoes in Utah's collective memory. Following his banishment to the remote island in the Great Salt Lake, Baptiste's story took a turn for the mysterious. His disappearance, just 3 weeks into his solitary confinement, added another layer of intrigue to his tale. The scant evidence left behind suggested that he might have built a raft and braved the treacherous waters of the lake to escape. But the details of his escape, much like the man himself, remained shrouded in mystery. Today, the legend of Jean-Baptiste has permeated into various aspects of Utah's culture. He has inspired works of literature and art, and has even made his way into local ghost stories. His tale has become a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of crossing moral boundaries. The impact of his crimes and his mysterious disappearance have left an indelible mark on Utah's history. The graveyards he once pillaged are now seen as symbols of a past marred by scandal and mystery. The island where he was banished, once a place of punishment, is now a site of intrigue and speculation, a silent witness to Baptiste's daring escape. Throughout the years, many have attempted to solve the mystery of his disappearance. Theories abound, from him successfully escaping and starting a new life elsewhere, to meeting a tragic end in the unforgiving waters of the Great Salt Lake. Yet, the truth remains elusive, adding to the intrigue that surrounds his legend. Jean-Baptiste's story continues to captivate, to unsettle, to intrigue. His tale, woven into the tapestry of Utah's history, serves as a reminder of a time when the state was gripped by an extraordinary scandal. His legend is a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the human fascination with the unexplained. Jean-Baptiste, the notorious grave robber, vanished without a trace. His great escape remains one of Utah's most captivating mysteries,